Charges dismissed. Number 7 Texas hosts Rice tonight. 49ers rookie quarterback Brock Purdy, coming off an impressive performance in the win over the Bucs, says he believes he'll play Thursday versus Seattle despite an oblique injury. Purdy brings a lot to the Niners offense, says ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick.
He doesn't have to just be a point guard. He's a guy who can buy time in the pocket. He can make great decisions on the run. He can fit the football all over the football field at short, intermediate, and deep. He can make the off-schedule throws. He can get them in the right kind of plays. And, these kind of things are just going to accelerate as time goes on.
Cowboys right tackle Terrence Steele will miss the rest of this season with torn ligaments in his left knee, reports ESPN's Todd Archer. Monday Night Football, Patriots-Cardinals, 8:15 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Welcome back, Paulie. Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. My goodness gracious, do we have a lot to get to today. Could Sean Payton actually return to the Saints? A notion I hadn't even considered. Mostly because I never considered the possibility of the Saints moving on after 1 year from Dennis Allen. But the worse this season goes, the more of a possibility that becomes, I suppose. And then Jeff Duncan, who is certainly as respected a member of the New Orleans media as there is, dropped his column/report on Sunday, and we're going to talk about it. Jeff will be here in about 15 minutes from right now. God, we have a lot to get to. More LSU NFL draft announcements that we'll get to here today. And, man, what a weekend for the Pellies. Give me Graf. Give me Graf. I want Graf. Just give me one. Hit me with some Graf. I'm ready for it. From jump. Graf, go, Graf.
Paul, no foul Z, weaves through, lay it, missed it, rebound Nance, throw it up the floor, Zion. This will be showtime. 360, left hand punch. That's a dunk contest dunk.
Hey, you know what I was thinking after Zion? On Friday night, we're at my in-laws' house, and I'm watching on my phone because they don't have Cox, so I wasn't able to watch Bally Sports. So I'm watching on my phone, and I watch them close it out. Zion with the big 360, windmill dunk, and I thought, oh man, I saw the shoving at the end. I'm going, man, Sunday it's going to be chippy. They're going to get the Suns' best shot. Boy, they're just not going to let Zion beat him. And you know what happened on Sunday? Zion scored 35. It don't matter what you do. All right, we'll talk more Pels later. All right, so every day we're getting more and more draft announcements. Of course, a week ago today, we were all pleasantly surprised. We found out Kayshon Boutte was returning. Of course, Jack Besh has entered the portal. Jay Ward announced he's going pro but will play in the bowl game. And you've had a lot of other announcements, most of which we all expected at this point. And on Sunday, B.J. Ojulari was the next to make his intentions known. Ojulari, via statement on all of his social media, did in fact announce that he is entering the NFL draft. No word yet from Ojulari, however, on whether or not he is going to play in the bowl game. So that's interesting, and I've vetted that a little, tried to find out. LSU today, Monday, begins bowl practice. So we'll find out, I would assume, soon here, if he's on the practice field or not, or whenever they do, in fact, have availability. But B.J. Ojulari has declared for the draft. No word yet, again, on the bowl game. And then Jenkins has also made his declaration. Jure is a senior, but could take advantage of the COVID year, but has chosen not to do that. Jure Jenkins is, in fact, going to declare for the draft. He'll go pro and will not play in the bowl game. So Jure Jenkins has declared for the draft, and his career is over. You wish Jure, a guy from Gina, who's probably best going to be known for some big-time plays like the game winner against A&M in 2021 in Tiger Stadium. Heck, he caught what would have been the dramatic game-tying touchdown against Florida State, but for, obviously, the blocked PAT. But Jure Jenkins, a Louisiana guy who made the decision to come back in 2022, and he certainly didn't have to, but probably will best be known for some big-time catches and a big-time playmaker, and you wish him all the best. He'll go to the Combine and test exceptionally well and be the next in a long line of LSU receivers to go have a great career at the next level. I did want to take a minute, though, if I could, and throw some bouquets to B.J. Ojulari. And mostly because he's one of those guys from the class of 2020 that could have left, and it would have been hard to blame him at any point. Here's what I mean. Those guys who signed with LSU in the class of 2020, remember the context. LSU's coming off a national championship. So when those guys are being recruited, it was really like 2018, LSU wins the Fiesta Bowl, 2019, most dominant team ever, so much fun, national championship, Burrow, Heisman, all of it. And then the following signing class is, after the Natty, is when they all signed. And so they think that's what they're coming into. And then COVID. Everything shuts down. So they don't even have a spring going into their true freshman season. And then their true freshman season doesn't even start until October. And then you have this weird COVID protocol thing where, you're being tested every day. You're having these skeleton rosters, games being moved. They had to adjust on the fly. And all of that, and LSU stunk. They were 5-5. It just didn't go well. And so then after that season, it would have been totally understandable with the portal rules if guys would have left. Guys would have left and found solid footing elsewhere, a new beginning. But he came back. And in 2021, it was a disaster again. You lose to UCLA, and we all know what happened with Orgeron. He was fired by midseason. You get blown out by Kentucky. You get blown out by Ole Miss. It's a disaster. You got to hire a new coach. It was just, and again, you would have totally understood if any of those guys decided to leave. And quite honestly, most of them did, which is why this year for LSU is even more kind of incredible, because your junior class, those guys from the 2021 class, the juniors this year, should have been the cornerstone of your roster, right? Like typically by the time you have a really highly rated class, those juniors are going to be, when they're in their third year, those juniors are the cornerstone. Well, look at the 2020 class. I mean, you would assume like 3/4 of that class would be the cornerstone of your roster. Look at that class. Eric Gilbert, gone. Eli Ricks, gone. Phillip Webb, gone. Jordan Tolles, gone. Antoine Sampa, gone. Trey Bradford, gone. Josh White, gone. Max Johnson, Eric Taylor, Dwight McGlothern, Coy Moore, Alex Adams, TJ Finley, gone. That whole class is gone. Which is why when you look at Kayshawn and you look at Jay Roy and you look at B.J. Ojulari, the guys who stayed from that class that committed to being part of this rebuild when Brian Kelly got the job, it's even more impressive. Like Brian Kelly talked about B.J. Ojulari and what he meant in this transition.
He's a leader by example. He works hard, does the right things on and off the field, sets a great example. So, when you're talking about culture change, when you're talking about standards and doing things differently, you need a couple of guys early on that kind of set that example by the way they do things. He was one of those guys for me that early on just was all in. And then, obviously, he plays so hard, doesn't take plays off. Go back to the Auburn game where he came up with a strip sack that changed the momentum of the game. It was a leader's kind of play where effort was needed in the time of the game where we needed a big play, and he stepped up.
I mean, that is Ojulari, a leader. He was awarded the number 18. He's a team captain. He bought into Brian Kelly. He helped the transition. You mentioned the play against Auburn at the end of the first half. Remember, LSU was down 17-0. Ojulari gets the strip sack, Baskerville scoops score, and all of a sudden you're back in the ball game. What if you don't get that play at the end of the first half? How does that game go? How does the rest of your season go? Don't know. But Ojulari's a guy who everything from recruiting translated onto the field. He became first-team All-SEC this year in a season where you expect him to have a big year, and he does. He was very durable for LSU and a great player. And he's a guy that, although he's leaving LSU without having won a championship, an SEC or national championship, is a guy that should be beloved by LSU fans for forever because he's worthy of all of that. Now, the big question for Brian Kelly and his staff is how are you going to replace him? And it's very clear that in this transfer portal class, they are targeting edge rushers because the only jack, remember, Desmond Little entered the portal last week. Ojulari's going pro. You already saw Phillip Webb enter the portal. So the only scholarship player you have that's that jack position is Xavier Carter, who had 4 tackles this season. So, Perkins can play it, but you want him to be an inside backer, a 3-down, every down linebacker. So you've got Xavier Carter out there, and Quincy Wiggins could play it. Savion Jones could play it, but those guys are more likely to fill into that Ali Gay role in Matt House's defense, which is why they've already made 2 offers to edge players in the portal. And in this class already, you've got Jackson Howard and Dylan Carpenter committed. So that is a must position to address in the recruiting class and in the transfer portal for LSU, because replacing a guy like B.J. Ojulari is certainly not going to be easy. But you understand his decision. You wish him all the best. A great Tiger that the LSU fans should forever appreciate. Okay, it's after further review. Could Sean Payton really be back in New Orleans next season coaching the Saints? We're talking about it with Jeff Duncan next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Follow him on all the social media at GetGordon or go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. On Friday, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys announced the newest member of the G team. That is Coach Kim Mulkey. And what are they doing to kick off that partnership? Well, Coach Kim Mulkey and the LSU Lady Tiger basketball team, they're all committing and contributing as well. Gordon, of course, the 500 bike giveaway during the holidays. The Get Gordon Gives bike giveaway. Kim Mulkey's participating. Gordon and Kim are making stops all over the state to hand out those bikes to less fortunate children this Christmas season. What an awesome way to kick off that partnership. We tell you all the time about Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, right? If you've been injured, it's not your fault. You need a lawyer. Call Gordon and his team. Get Gordon, get it done. But they do so much more for the community. Through their NIL opportunities, through the Gordon Gives bike giveaway, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
There is so much speculation around what Sean Payton is going to do in 2023. It's roundly believed he is going to coach somewhere in the NFL. The where is the speculation, and boy, what a curveball that was thrown Sunday by our friend Jeff Duncan of NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, the man who quite literally wrote the book on Sean Payton and Drew Brees, the book Payton and Brees, the men who built the greatest offense in NFL history. So when Jeff Duncan says it, I'm going to pay a lot of attention, and Jeff's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Jeff, we appreciate it. How are you?
Matt, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
How much reaction have you gotten over the last 24 hours?
Oh, plenty. You can imagine. I just left a luncheon actually with Saints executives and owner Gail Benson. They had some fun with me. They took some good-natured jabs at the column, as I expected, but it was all in good fun, and we had a good time laughing.
So, yes, it's a column, but therein you actually lay out some things that I would say are reporters' facts. Let's just start with the genesis where people are going, Jeff, there's no way Sean Payton's coming back. Like, what would you say to the person right now saying, zero chance, not happening, ship has sailed, that's done?
Yeah, well, I think that's the actual point I tried to get across in the column more than anything else, Matt, was I think most fans, the general public, believes the ship sailed and that door is closed, and that is not true at all. At least talking to people close, very close to the situation, there's a possibility he could come back if, I think the biggest thing is the if, and that is if the organization had an opening at head coach. And that's a huge if, and this whole equation is, Sean Payton would have to have a reason to come back here. But I think people thought he was done, he left, and he's looking for greener pastures elsewhere. And from everything I've been able to gather, that's not true at all. And I think it was important to get that possibility out there.
So the big if that you referred to, if the Saints have an opening, I'll get to that in a second. But just for housekeeping, are you saying that you're certain? Trying to use the right word. If the Saints do have an opening, Sean Payton would be interested in returning to New Orleans?
Yes, and I think the caveat there is he's open to considering it. Not, I want to come back if you move on from Dennis Allen, I'm coming back. That's not the case. The case is, if I'm looking at all my options and one of them would be New Orleans, yes, I would definitely consider that as a possibility. But I think he's going to explore every option that's out there and take what's best. But I think most people assume he would never even consider it. And let me just put it to you this way. This is the best way I can put it, to put it into context. Someone I talked to that I trust implicitly told me Sean Payton has already looked at the Saints roster. He's looked at the coaching staff. He's looked at the front office. He's determined who he would want to come back, who he would want to move on from, what he would do, what plan he would have. He's done that with all the options, right? Not just New Orleans, all the possible options. I don't think he would take the time to do that, Matt, if he wasn't interested in coming back. He wouldn't waste his time.
Jeff Duncan's with us. He's on Twitter at @JeffDuncan_. Make sure you get the underscore in there. Otherwise, you get some whole other Jeff Duncan on Twitter. Do the Saints reciprocate the interest, hypothetically, in Sean Payton?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt they would, but they've got a head coach right now, and I think they want to see him finish well. And I think it's a long shot that Sean Payton comes back because of that. I mean, we all know how Mickey Loomis and Gail Benson operate. There's a track record there. They're very loyal supporters of their people that they put in place, and they don't act very rashly. And that my point in my column at the end was just, I think you have to strongly consider it if you have a chance to get Sean Payton, because it's not just any other coach, Matt. This is a guy that is going to be in the Hall of Fame as a head coach. He's one of the greatest to ever do it, and he knows everything about this organization. And if you think there's a possibility to bring him back, I think you have to look very seriously at it, regardless of, unfortunately, maybe collateral damage that would involve, changing your head coach after 1 year, which I know they don't want to do.
Jeff, is there a scenario that could unfold over the next 4 games that could force the organization's hand to move on from Dennis Allen, even if Sean Payton isn't interested?
I think it's a very low possibility. I think it would have to really fall apart on the rails. This thing would have to go off the rails in these last 4 games, and I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility. These games have suddenly gotten a lot more difficult. Carolina and Atlanta are in the thick of the playoff race now, a step ahead of the Saints, so you're going to get probably their best shot. You're going to Philadelphia. That could be a buzzsaw. And you've got to go to Cleveland, a place you haven't had much success at. So, if this team were to finish with a 6-game losing streak, I think everything's on the table. And I think they have to look at everything long-term and big picture when these decisions are made. But just looking at the track record and looking at potentially the money involved, and I don't even know what Dennis Allen makes, but just the going rate for an NFL head coach is around $4 million a year. However many years he's got, 3-4 years, that's a big check to write, to move on after 1 year.
You also noted that Sean Payton has 2 more years on his contract. I mean, the Saints have his rights for 2 more years. Could the Saints, or would they, potentially stand in the way of him coaching somewhere else?
I think if Carolina tried to bring in Sean Payton, and I think they have sincere interest, I think Mickey Loomis will hold them to a king's ransom in compensation. I don't even know if that would be enough, man. I think Mickey Loomis is not going to want to coach against Sean Payton twice a year. He does not want his team coaching against him. He does not want him in the division. I think they understand. No one knows how good a coach Sean Payton is more than Mickey Loomis. No one respects him more as a coach than Mickey Loomis. I know that for a fact, so I can't see him letting him go in the division.
We've had so many conversations, and Jeff, I mean, look, there's everyone that knows Sean Payton in some form, and even Sean Payton himself have talked about him coaching for the last 6 months or whatever it is. And we've always told you he wants to be coastal. He wants to be in a warm weather place. He wants to go somewhere with a good quarterback situation. The Saints have none of that. How much of the Saints roster and issues could be a potential bugaboo for him even wanting to return to New Orleans?
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue at all. I think there's been a lot of speculation about some of that stuff, and I'm not sure how accurate it is. Now, what I can tell you is he's living in L.A. On Manhattan Beach. He's very happy. His daughter lives in L.A. His other main residence is in Idaho. So he's kind of a West Coast base right now. But most of the country most of the coaching opportunities, frankly, are not on the West Coast. You'd be limiting yourself. But that said, if either one of those jobs in L.A. came open, I think he would strongly consider them because of those things I mentioned. Those, and I think functional ownership, mean more to Sean Payton than anything else. Quarterback, he'll go get a quarterback. He's confident that way. He did it when he came here in 2006. There's no quarterback to speak of, and he went and got Drew Brees. Now, he's not going to get another Drew Brees, but he's confident enough to solve that riddle. I think that's not going to be – I think people looking at quarterbacks and where he might go are missing the bigger picture.
Man, $8 million annual salary. I figure that could buy you all of Idaho. I mean, does he own like half the state?
Yeah. Well, look.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, look, Sean Payton is wired differently than most of us. And I think that the thing I go back to all the time is a quote he used to always trot out from his mentor, Bill Parcells, and that was, look, there are 10 to 12 franchises in this league that are functional, that have a chance almost every year to win a Super Bowl, get in the playoffs, be in the mix. They're relevant, competitive. And he said everyone else is kind of swimming in circles, can't stay out of their own way. They can rise up, get in the playoffs, make a run, but they're going to sink right back down. You want to be on one of those 10 or 12 clubs. That's what I think he's looking for. He's not going to go somewhere where he can't be successful. He doesn't have to make that jump right now. It wouldn't surprise me if nothing materialized this season and he did TV for another year, even though I know he wants to coach next year. If it's not the right spot, he'll sit out another year and wait.
Jeff Duncan, before you go, if I asked you today on December the 12th, if I asked you to look into the crystal ball or the magic 8 ball, what do you think happens with this situation?
Well, I think more than likely he coaches somewhere else next year, and the Saints stick with Dennis Allen, and they are faced with a long, difficult offseason and a long, difficult rebuilding plan. And I think that is probably the path that they're going to take. My column was basically just saying there's another path there, and I think it's a much more viable path to getting back in the mix. But I also understand the hurdles involved in that. So I would say Dennis Allen will be the coach here next year for the foreseeable future. Who the quarterback is, I don't have the answer to that, Matt, and I think that's the biggest question that he and Mickey Loomis have to answer going into next season above everything else.
Jeff, I like your path way better. Can we do that?
I think most people would. I mean, look, Sean, it's a unique situation, Matt, and I think the fact that the Saints still have his rights and the fact that it has not worked out very well. I think we can all admit that. It's kind of gone sideways already, and I think there's some serious questions about how this franchise is going to be competitive going forward. It looks pretty bleak in every aspect of the organization. And I know a lot of fans are worried that they're going back to the pre-Breeze Payton days, and frankly, I understand why they feel that way.
Jeff, I cared more yesterday about the Pelicans playing the Suns than I did about NFL football. That says a mouthful, but also pretty optimistic about the Pels. Hey, look, it is holiday season. Go pick up Jeff's book, Payton and Breeze, the men who built the greatest offense in NFL history. Reminisce about the good old days, maybe the good future days as well. He's on Twitter at JeffDuncan_NOLA.com. Jeff, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for making time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Matt. Take care, buddy.
Our pleasure. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. That's mold-0usa.com. If you got water in the house, maybe mold at the home or the restaurant or wherever it may be, the place of business, don't go cutting sheetrock. Don't go ripping things out of your attic. Just call Mold Zero, mold-0usa.com. They service Greater Baton Rouge and Greater New Orleans, so there's a phone number for each depending on where you are. Call Jim and the gang over at Mold Zero. They'll come. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. So we're not cutting sheetrock, anything like that. They come in, they spray this non-toxic fog, meaning it gets into every nook and cranny, totally safe for you, your kids, your pets, everything. As soon as the fog dissipates, just a couple hours, you're out of your home. As soon as the fog dissipates, you can go back in your home. Clean-smelling, mold-free home. It's Mold Zero, mold-0usa.com. That's mold-0usa.com. All right, man, what a thought. What an idea, a thought there by Jeff Duncan. And again, I say it often, you got to consider the source. Jeff Duncan is as respected a guy or person as there is that covers the Saints and has done it for such a long time and literally wrote the book, as we talked about, on Peyton and Breeze. So if he's sitting here saying that Sean Payton would consider a reunion and coming back to New Orleans, and there is a possibility of it happening, then I'm going to pay attention to it. Yes, there's absolutely that lingering, not lingering. I mean, it's the 10,000-pound elephant in the room. It's Dennis Allen. The fact that you have a coach. I mean, what do you do if you've got a coach? Well, are they going to fire Dennis Allen after a year? Probably not. But ask me that question in 4 more weeks if the Saints finish 4-13. A distant dead last in the worst division in football. Talk to me then. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. We will get you an update on Mike Leach's condition. I'm sure many of you have heard the head coach of Mississippi State is quite literally fighting for his life right now in a hospital in Mississippi. We'll go around the SEC when we come back, and we'll talk a little LSU Hoops. Got a nice win on Saturday over Wake Forest. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Check them out. Hey, look, this week we've got River City's 1 Hour Air coming over to the house for the preseason heater safety check, something I encourage you to do every single year. Got mine scheduled for this Friday. Call River City's 1 Hour Air and get yours scheduled. How about this 5-star Google review that came in about Dustin, one of the technicians? It said, Dustin came over right away, found the problem, fixed it in a very short time. He is extremely informative, and one we can easily see why the field supervisor, thank God for Dustin, all caps, just another one of the great technicians over at River City's 1 Hour Air who find the problem, who fix the problem, who get your system back up and running in a timely manner. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001. Mention the Moscona special, save $30 on that heater safety check. River City's 1 Hour Air.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's number.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Goes up top to Hill. Shot clock is off, 10 seconds to go. Hill has it moved, 7 seconds to go. Hill spinning, driving. Hill at the finish! Timeout, Wake Forest with 2.1 to go.
Justice Hill with what would be the game winner for the LSU basketball Tigers. They beat Wake Forest 72-70. What a rally for the Tigers. They trailed by 20 in the first half. If you were watching the game, had a really nice little spurt at the end of the first half. Wake Forest was just on fire from three early, built a big lead. LSU, some really nice defensive adjustments in the second half. They were able to trim the lead with a 14-2 run right before half to get it down to 8. So LSU went into the break trailing 41-33, and then, man, they put the clamps on defensively in the second half, and Wake Forest went ice cold from three. They finished the day just 5 of 24. Wake Forest did from three, allowed LSU to get back in it. Monster day for KJ Williams, 30 career double-doubles now for the LSU power forward, and for his efforts, KJ Williams named the SEC Player of the Week. Here was Matt McMahon after the game on the big day that KJ Williams had against Wake Forest.
He was fantastic, and we wanted to try and stretch and space the floor to attack their ball screen coverage and use KJ out on the perimeter as a weapon, and he stepped up and delivered. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's almost scored 2,000 points in college now, so we expect big things from him, and he was first class today.
35 and 10 for KJ Williams. The one thing that I'll tell you, though, to keep in mind, and believe me, I do not want to be a wet blanket. Okay, so that is not the point of this. But I think, like we talk about sometimes with LSU football this year, how you need like the 10,000-foot view on the season, and then you could look at the sort of under the microscope view of a given game. But LSU's 8-1 on the year, but they're 80th in the net. Remember, LSU has 8 wins on the season. 6 of them are quad 4 wins. They played one quad 1 game, and they lost it to Kansas State. So, and by the way, Wake Forest is 86th in the net. Again, I'm not being a wet blanket, but I'm just providing some context here to say, don't overreact to the win in the big picture. Don't look at LSU at 8-1 and then beating Wake Forest and, oh, they're a tournament team, because they're probably not going to be. This is a team that has holes, that is playing an absurdly weak schedule, but out of necessity. And I understand. Remember, Matt McMahon inherited a team that had zero scholarship players. Literally, all of them left. Everybody. Now, he got a couple of them back and had to go remake his roster. And he had to load up the schedule to allow his team to have some success as he learned about them and they learned each other and all that sort of stuff, okay? But understand, like, if this team manages to get to 500 in a stacked SEC, that would be an incredible accomplishment. So don't look at the Wake win and think, they're going to the tournament, because that's probably not going to happen. It'd be great if they did. But I'm sitting here telling you it would be great if they got to 500 in the league. I mean, this league is ridiculous. Have you looked at the rankings and where the SEC teams are? Bama's ranked 4th. This is the new polls that came out today. Bama's 4th, Tennessee 6th, Arkansas's 10th, Kentucky's 13th. Kentucky's the 4th highest ranked team in the league. Mississippi State 17, Auburn 19. Y'all, I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a little bit of a struggle in the league this year because the league's really good. But appreciate this for what it is. Team got down 20 and didn't get rattled. They rallied, which was awesome to see. Great halftime adjustments defensively by Matt McMahon to get this team back in the ball game and clamp down defensively, give them a chance. And then after Wake Forest tied the game, you inbound, you call the timeout to get the sideline inbound. Great play design. I mean, I say play design. It was just an ISO with Justice Hill, and he took it. You spaced the floor, took it to the hole, and he made the play. Guy who Matt McMahon knows full well because he had him at Murray. So you saw a guy like Cam Hayes, the NC State transfer, step up in a big way with double-digit points. Derek Fountain got a start and scored in double figures. So you're seeing some development, and that's the positive thing with this team. And certainly to get the win on Saturday was very cool. So it's going to be a process this year, but it's nice to see them stockpile wins here in the pre-conference. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
But now you've probably heard Mississippi State football coach Mike Leach remains hospitalized. He is in critical condition. The university did release a statement on Monday morning. The Jackson Clarion Ledger is reporting that Mike Leach had a massive heart attack and is literally fighting for his life. Leach, in his third season as the Bulldogs head coach, was at practice with the team on Saturday, preparing to play Illinois in the January 2nd ReliaQuest Bowl. In the meantime, defensive coordinator Zach Arnett is in charge of the football program. Mike Leach is 61 years old.
The Auburn Tigers.
Hugh Freeze has added his coordinators, Ron Roberts, who people in Louisiana know well. He is Auburn's new defensive coordinator, and Philip Montgomery is the new OC. Roberts comes to the Plains from Baylor, where he spent the last 3 years as coordinator under Dave Aranda. Montgomery had been the head coach at Tulsa, where he was fired this year after his 8th season at Tulsa.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Tight ends coach Dole Loggins is leaving Arkansas to fill the OC job at South Carolina. Loggins is a former Arkansas quarterback who had a long coaching career in the NFL. He'd been OC with the Jets, Dolphins, Bears, and Titans.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss has hired John Garrison as the run game coordinator and offensive line coach. Garrison has spent the last 4 seasons at NC State. He had previously been the run game coordinator for Lane Kiffin at FAU in 2018. Also stops at UNLV and Nebraska. He was a 4-year letterman at Nebraska from 1999 to 2002.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky's announced the hiring of Jay Boulware as the running backs coach and special teams coordinator. Boulware has more than 25 years coaching experience, college and NFL, most recently with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He also had been the associate head coach at the University of Texas. Also stops at Oklahoma, Auburn, Iowa State, Arizona, and Northern Illinois.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Running back Marshawn Lloyd has entered the transfer portal. Lloyd is draft eligible, but has entered the portal. He's a former 4-star recruit from the class of 2020. He missed 3 games this year due to injury, but has been a very productive player during his time in South Carolina.
The Missouri Tigers.
Mizzou has got a commitment from wide receiver Theo Weiss Jr., caught 64 passes over 4 seasons at Oklahoma. He's committed to Missouri now. He's a former 5-star recruit. He'll have 2 years of eligibility starting next season. In high school, he was the 3rd best receiver in the country in the 2019 class. That gives Mizzou 4 receivers for the incoming class.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Keon Keeley, a 5-star from Tampa, has committed to Nick Saban's program, doing so on Monday. He's the number 6 overall prospect for the class of 2023 and the number 1 edge rusher in the country. He initially was a Notre Dame commit, but now has flipped to Alabama, 6'6", 242-pounder.
Texas A&M!
And A&M's 2024 class has added another commit. 4-star wide receiver DeBron Gatling has committed to the Aggies. He was also considering LSU and Tennessee. 6 foot, 172-pound receiver. He's the 3rd commit for 2024, so he's a rising senior. He is going to be an early enrollee. He's ranked the number 280 overall player, the 40th best receiver in the country. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. They proudly sell the Savin line, but they will service all makes and models. So if you're having issues with your office equipment, remember Gulf Coast Office Products with locations in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, the North Shore, and Lafayette. They can get to you same day, worst case scenario by 10 a.m. the next day. That's Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com. All right, y'all, it is after further review. We are going to keep an eye on the Mike Leach story. I'm sure a lot of you have heard and read a lot of the reports that are out there because of the extremely sensitive nature of the situation, what is being reported. I'm just not going to speculate or provide any type of opinion or commentary, only to say we'll keep Mike Leach and his family in our prayers and everyone associated with Mississippi State, and hoping for whatever the best possible outcome may be with this situation. And as we know more, we'll certainly share it with you. Speaking of Mississippi State, there's Rivs. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break, and we'll wrap up hour number one next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. At Rouse's, they say, leave the holiday fuss to us. Hey, look, a week from Sunday is Christmas. That's crazy. You're 13 days away from Christmas. If you have not started thinking about Christmas dinner or Christmas Eve or that Christmas party, if you're having family and friends over, let Rouse's handle everything. Go to the website, Rouse's.com. You'll see it right there on the homepage. You can tap, or on the mobile app, you can tap it right there on the homepage. It'll bring you to the catering page where you can select everything. You can select your main course, if it's the turkey, the ham, all the sides as well. Same deal as with Thanksgiving, but they can do it for Christmas as well. Go to Rouse's.com. Again, Rouse's.com. It is heat and eat holiday meals. Don't slave over the stove all day. Let Rouse's handle all of it. Go to Rouse's.com. That's Rouse's.com. Let Rouse's handle the holiday fuss. Rouse's. This feels like home.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Days after a state trooper shot and killed a man hauling more than 150 pounds of cocaine through Baton Rouge, state police say their investigation is ongoing. We know tonight a special task force aimed at taking drugs off the streets initiated the stop in an area known as a drug corridor in Baton Rouge. The investigative unit digs into what that team does and how it keeps the streets safe. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Winter can be magical. The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is here, and there's no better time to check out our new Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge inventory. We have the vehicles that can make your holiday extraordinary. See all the latest technological features on the newest models during our Mercedes-Benz Winter Event. Shop our best of the best award-winning dealership. Visit mbobr.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together,
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
USA Today Sports released their annual review of college football compensation. They do this every year, and it's basically just a giant illustration of how much money is being spent around college football and all the college sports, and just how big of a disparity there is among the different levels in college sports. If you're curious, maybe the biggest takeaway from this year is all of the support staff, the money that's being spent on support staff. For example, in the SEC alone, Florida has 68 full-time support staff personnel. Remember, you've got 120 players on the roster if you include walk-ons. They had 68 support staff members. That's not even including your on-field coaches. LSU, and we could laugh at Florida because I know a lot of people laughed at Florida because all the support staff. LSU's got 61. Georgia's got 56. LSU's second behind Florida with support staff members. The SEC's got 21 assistants making $1 million a year or more. There's 13 public institutions, and then Vanderbilt, 21 assistant coaches making in excess of $1 million a year, which is just wild to see how this is all transpiring and growing. But listen, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm not saying don't spend the money on this. I'm not saying it's a waste. Athletic departments are the front door. They're the doorstep to these institutions, to the world, and in many instances, they are massive economic growth centers for the communities in college towns. I mean, think about what LSU means to Baton Rouge in the state of Louisiana, and same in Athens, Georgia, or Knoxville, Tennessee, or Starkville, Mississippi, or you all get it, College Station, Texas. So I'm not in any way saying it. It's an illustration of the money that is spent and the investments being made. LSU spends $5 million on support staff. 4 senior defensive analysts, a lead defensive analyst, a regular defensive analyst, 4 assistant development coaches, and a 6-figure position for the manager of applied sports science. 6 figures for the manager of applied sports science. I'm sure it's critical. Brian Kelly, very detail-oriented coach. But I only say this to illustrate again, and you know there was a point here. I only say this to illustrate again the massive disparity between the haves and the have-nots in college football, which is why we are inevitably headed toward a fracture of college football where the Power 5 or the invite-only club, as Tim Brando might call it, what does he say, the pure playoff privilege? Is that what he calls it, the pure playoff privilege? Like, they will exist in their own, the mic just fell down, in their own little ecosystem. And that's the way it should be. And will be eventually. For context, I just mentioned that the SEC has 21 assistants making $1 million. LSU is spending $5 million on support staff only. That's not the coaching staff. That's support staff. Meanwhile, ULL lost money last fiscal year, lost money, and they are the most subsidized athletic department in the state of Louisiana. There is no reality ever in which, and I'm not picking on ULL, I'm just pointing them out for proximity, where ULL or fill in the blank school, Louisiana Tech, ULM, Troy, South Alabama, it doesn't matter, FAU, name it. There is no reality in which a G5 will ever be on the same level as a Power 5. It's just, you have this much equity built up over more than a century where what these schools and football programs mean to their respective communities, the boosters, the money that floods into it, it'll never be equitable between the Power 5 and the Group of 5. So, yes, we are inevitably headed toward a fracture. And the expanded college football playoff is another illustration of it. And there's just going to be more and more of that division, which I'm for, because it's going to be better off. Group of 5, go create your own playoff, which they won't. because they won't generate nearly as much money as just being a hanger-on in the Power 5, but it'd be better for everybody if they did. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Dennis Allen says he's sticking with Andy Dalton. Good. Maybe the Saints will faceplant the next 4 weeks, and they'll fire Dennis Allen. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com, changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans, you know where to find them there, GMFS Mortgage. A lot of people ask, and I do hear this quite often, as I'm sure you do, just in conversation, like, is it still a good time to refi? Is it a good time to buy? Interest rates are going up. The Fed's supposed to make a decision on interest rates again this week if they're going to raise them again. It's one of the reasons I keep stressing to you, like, it may be a great idea to buy now before rates continue to increase. And then when rates decrease, you could refi. Maybe that's a great option for you. Maybe not. But don't listen to me. Talk to a loan officer at GMFS Mortgage. Talk to a loan officer that deals with these situations in Louisiana literally every day. Nobody in our state closes more loans annually than GMFS Mortgage. They're our state's largest local lender. They're actually 11th in the country as far as USDA lenders. It's GMFS Mortgage. Log on, find the loan officer nearest you at gmfsmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Mississippi State football coach Mike Leach remains hospitalized in critical condition after suffering a massive heart attack at home yesterday, according to a university spokesman. Texas men's basketball coach Chris Beard was arrested this morning on a felony domestic violence charge. He's out of jail on bond. His attorney told the Austin American-Statesman Beard is 100% innocent of the charges. 7th-ranked Texas will host Rice tonight. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy says he believes he'll be ready to play Thursday night despite an oblique injury sustained in yesterday's win. Purdy made quite an impression on his Niners teammates in that victory. ESPN NFL analyst Ryan Clark.
Now you put Brock Purdy in there, who is probably more talented, at least now, than Jimmy G is, who also understands it here after having that experience at Iowa State. They're better. This is the best quarterback play the San Francisco 49ers have gotten the entire year.
Ryan Clark on Get Up. Jimmy Garoppolo is out with a broken foot. Cowboys right tackle Terrence Smith out the rest of the season with torn ligaments in his left knee. Pitcher Chris Bassett agreed on a 3-year deal with the Blue Jays.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We're going to talk to our buddy Eddie Radosevich, who covers Oklahoma. He's actually our best friend. I remember he's our best friend. We when did we meet him first? Did we meet him
whenever they shocked the world and were coming to the SEC.
It wasn't during the playoff. I think we talked to John Hoover.
I don't think it was during the playoff.
Yeah, John Hoover was our go-to OU guy during the playoff, during the Peach Bowl.
Not anymore.
And then what?
You're not the go-to OU guy anymore. John Hoover.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Well, Eddie's our best friend.
Yeah. He wanted to beat up Vanderbilt, remember?
I do remember that.
That was awesome.
I don't know why he wanted to beat
up
Vanderbilt.
I don't either.
But, yeah, he's very unorthodox, and I like it a lot. So Eddie Radosevich will be here in an hour. Apparently, Ross Dellinger reported Texas and OU are nearing an agreement to join the SEC by 2024, so after next season. So that would jump the gun by 2 years. The big bugaboo has been the money, the massive exit fee should they leave early. I mean, you're going to have to pay an exit fee either way, but if they leave early, Texas could write the check 100 times over. Apparently, Oklahoma, that's been sort of the bigger issue. But we'll talk to Eddie next hour. Also want to talk to him about Caleb Williams winning the Heisman. How do you think that feels? Like, if you're – I don't, like, follow Oklahoma Twitter accounts or anything like that. Maybe I should start. But did you hear any, like, was there any consensus? Like, if you're an Oklahoma fan, I tweeted on Saturday night, like, how do you feel if you're an Oklahoma fan? The guy who was your coach and your quarterback go a new place, and in the first year, the guy wins the Heisman.
You don't feel good. I'm trying to think of a comp, but I don't. I mean, that's some serious jilted lover stuff right there. Like, you saw him have 2 Heisman winners with you and a runner-up.
Jalen was runner-up?
Yeah. And then, I mean, like you said, in year 1. And then, the divorce was so messy.
But mostly, I think what this underscores is transfer quarterbacks. Transfer quarterbacks. Like Grayson McCall entered the portal today. Leary from NC State is taking some SEC visits. Like, that's a really big deal. He's visiting Auburn. I mean, what if Devin Leary ends up at Auburn with Hugh Freeze? I mean, Auburn all of a sudden. Do you realize Southern Cal won 4 games a year ago? They went from 4-8 to Heisman winner 1 game away from the playoff. It can happen that quickly because of the portal. I mean, you're always – so people ask me – I've been asked a lot, hey, do you think LSU could win the West again next year? Sure. Why not? I mean, I kind of look at – I always start and calibrate around Bama, but you just beat Bama. They're losing Bryce Young. I don't know who their quarterback is going to be. Nick's got the number 1 recruiting class in the country right now, and I don't ever think Nick Saban's ever just going to lay down and let his program erode. They're going to have great players. But the things that made Bama truly elite and dominant, their interior line on both sides of the ball, weren't this year what they've been. And now you're losing Bryce Young, who without Bryce Young, what would Alabama have been this year? Truly. They sure don't beat Texas. Yeah, sure you can win it again next year. Sure you can go to Atlanta again next year. Anyway, all right, so we'll get to more of that. By the way, in about 10 minutes, I do want to talk about LSU's portal approach. They've doled out some portal offers already, and it's pretty clear where the focus is in the transfer portal for LSU. Some of it we've already talked about, but we'll start to zero in with some names here in just a little bit. All right. Saints coming off their bye. It's game week now. They'll take on Atlanta in the Dome. The Falcons will have a new starting quarterback. You know that they've benched Marcus Mariota in favor of Desmond Ridder, the rookie out of Cincinnati. So Desmond Ridder will be making his first career start. He'll be doing so against the Saints in the Dome. And wouldn't this just be totally apropos for any long-suffering Saints fan who fears the regression of the greatest era of Saints football history to what we all knew for some 40 years if Desmond Ridder, in his first career start, comes into New Orleans and beats the Saints? It would be very apropos if it happened that way. And quite honestly, considering what a lot of Saints fans are hoping for, it may be the first time ever you're kind of okay with maybe losing to the Falcons. I hate to say that out loud, but you're in a completely lost season. And Sunday was even more disgusting because you watched Tampa go to San Francisco and get pounded 35-7 by Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback, and you realize if you had just closed out a game that you led by 2 touchdowns with 3 minutes to go, you'd be tied right now for first place in the division. But you gagged it away, and now you're toast. So really, you ask yourself this question: can Dennis Allen figure it out? Like, do you believe in Dennis Allen long term? I do not. I am on record. I hope at some point he proves me wrong. If they keep him and they win a bunch of games, awesome. I hope the Saints win their next 4, and it's a huge springboard into the future of what this organization will be again. I don't believe that's going to happen because I don't think they'll ever win with Dennis Allen. But you've got Atlanta coming in, and one big question was if they were going to make a change at quarterback, and Dennis Allen said, nope.
Yeah, Andy will start. We'll evaluate everything as we, finish out these last 4 games. But I think Andy's done some good things. I think we've got to do a lot of other things around him to help him, and that includes, us as a coaching staff putting everybody in better positions.
Do you remember on October the 27th when Dennis Allen said this?
All the quarterbacks were full today. Andy's going to get the start again this week. I feel like he's played well offensively. I feel like we're in a little bit of a rhythm. We've been moving the ball effectively again. We've scored points. And so we're going to continue down that road with Andy as the quarterback.
That was before they played the Raiders. Remember, offense has been in a rhythm. We've scored points. Dennis Allen said many times the offense wasn't the problem. They were moving the ball. And at that point, they had some nice games offensively. They scored 34 against Arizona. But remember, Dalton threw 3 interceptions in that ball game, including a terrible interception in the end zone. And then they went and beat the Raiders 24-0. So you're like, offense, yay. But what do bad teams do? They don't string together wins. So here's been the offense since that game when Dennis Allen said that. We're sticking with Andy Dalton. He's done some good things. The offense is in a rhythm. Here's what they've done since. They lost to Baltimore 27-13. They lost to Pittsburgh 20-10. They beat the Rams 27-20. They got shut out in San Francisco 13-0. And they lost to Tampa 17-16. So if you're scoring at home, that's 13-10, 27-0, 16. You're averaging 13 points per game offensively since Dennis Allen made that comment. 13 points a game. That is not rhythm. That is not flow. That is your offense stinks. And why you would continue doing the same thing without making any type of change to try to correct what has been so awful for you. And the real bitter part about it is Your defense which was atrocious to start the season, incredibly, because of how good they've been, in this run historically. Giving up 28 to Minnesota, you can't get off the field. You beat Seattle, but you gave up 32 in that game. You gave up 30 to Burrow. You couldn't get off the field when you had a lead. You gave up 42 to Arizona. I mean, your defense was atrocious. You've actually gotten your sea legs under you defensively, and you're looking more like the team you had been. And because you're a terrible team, that's countered by the offense being complete and total utter garbage right now. But you're going to stick with Andy Dalton because, that's what bad coaches do. And Dennis Allen's a bad head coach, and he's not a leader, and he shouldn't be the leader of this organization. But he'll continue to be for the next 4 weeks and potentially beyond that. I don't even care. I don't want to hear any more from him. I was going to play some more of what Dennis Allen had to say. I don't care. I don't care what he had to say at all. Because at this point, we're nitpicking. We're just reading between the lines with everything that Dennis Allen has to say, and none of it is actually material because the results on the field say everything that you need to hear. And this is a bad football team that's inventing new ways to lose, and they're not getting better. So play out this string over the next 4 weeks, see where you land, and make a decision moving forward on the organization. But I'll tell you this, man, if the Saints lose out, which there is a very real possibility they could. They're at home this week against Atlanta. They're at Cleveland. They're at Philadelphia. And then they're home against Carolina. Carolina, by the way, controls its own destiny in the NFC South. And Atlanta is coming into New Orleans as a 4-point underdog and starting a rookie quarterback for the first time. So we'll see how that goes. So this is an inherently winnable game for New Orleans. But if you lose to Desmond Ridder in his debut as a rookie, and you go to Cleveland, and you go to Philly, and you lose, then you play Carolina in the regular season finale, and they're playing for a potential playoff spot, and they beat you with maybe Sam Darnold at quarterback, and you finish 4-13, I don't know that there is an argument to be made for Dennis Allen. There just isn't that there isn't a salient argument even to be made for him. But let's see how they go. As my feeling is they could win their 2 remaining home games. They'll probably lose their 2 road games at Cleveland, at Philly. They could beat Atlanta, beat Carolina, lose the road games. You finish with 5 wins. You finish 5-12. 6 wins. If you finish 6-11, where does that leave them? How does it look for the future? Don't know. But it starts this week, obviously, with Saints coming off their bye and welcoming in a bad Atlanta team starting a rookie quarterback. If you can't win this game, all right. We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's us, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, commercial or residential. Very pleased, actually, with the amount of commercial inquiries we've gotten. So thank you. I say it all the time. If it's a roof repair, roof replacement, if it's a giant commercial building or your home, either way, if it's the smallest repair to the biggest replacement, we'll do it all. We've done contracts with giant nursing home facilities, not only in Louisiana, but in other states as well, to residential homes affected by hail or wind or anything. We'd love to help you out at Hudco Roofing. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. Hudco is Louisiana's first Louisiana-based certified fortified roofing company. Install a fortified roof, and you could save as much as 50% on your homeowner's insurance premiums. Learn more at HudcoRoofing.com. Just hit that fortified tab. You can always give us a buzz at 364-1007. If you want to talk to a human being, you can do so. 225-364-1007, 364-1007, or HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. All right, glad to have you aboard with us here. I will circle back to talk some Pels at the bottom of this hour. We'll celebrate what was a beautiful weekend for the New Orleans Pelicans, taking 2 off of the Suns, and a lot of interesting conversations about Chris Paul as well and his legacy. So, ton to get to. When we come back, I'll flip back and talk some LSU football. The Tigers, one of their big targets in the portal, has narrowed his finalists down to 3, and LSU is prepared to host a pretty controversial portal target as well. I have some thoughts. We're going to get to that when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we're glad you're rolling along with us here. We'll talk some Pels in the next segment, so about 10 minutes from right now. We are keeping an eye on the Mike Leach situation as well. Where was this? Oh, this was on Out of Bounds. Okay. Steve Robertson, who's been on this show plenty over the years, covers Mississippi State for Gene's page, was on Out of Bounds, Bow Bounds, and I'm looking for an update. Here was, you can play the first one, please. This was Robertson on the latest with Leach's family there at the hospital.
His son was already here, and it was his oldest daughter had made it last night, and then the two others are expected to make it today. And, you know, they'll all be together as a family, and then they've got a difficult road and difficult decisions to make. And, you know, I don't know what the medical professionals at UMC, those talented people there, are communicating with Sharon, his wife. But the information that we've received is it's going to be very, very difficult for Mike Leach to make a full recovery from this. And our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. And I can't even begin to imagine what they're dealing with, especially as public as it all is. That's the thing. When you're the child of a public figure, it's a blessing and a curse. When in the best of times, you're happy to see that your dad is celebrated, and in the worst of times, you hate to see your dad be criticized. But I think everybody around the world today that loves college football loves Mike Leach, and everybody's kind of pulling in the same direction. They want to see him pull out of this thing.
Steve Robertson again on Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. Again, I don't have any information, just what everybody's seen. And the Jackson Clarion Ledger is reporting that he had a massive heart attack. And there were also reports in the Clarion Ledger of seizure and potential brain damage. There's just nothing more I can add as far as reporting news other than what's coming out. And I'm willing to just be patient, wait to see what happens. But as I think everyone has said, we'll just continue to keep Mike Leach and his family and all of the folks associated with Mississippi State in our prayers and hoping for the best outcome, whatever that outcome may be. All right, it's after further review. Just going to sort of transition. It's hard. It's clumsy, I know, with those, but I think you all understand. It's just a very human thing. Of course, the transfer portal window is open right now. LSU has already seen 7 players enter the transfer portal, in addition to Philip Webb and Antoine Sampa, who had previously entered the portal. So, yes, there are 9 in the portal. We did our portal math last week to try to figure out exactly the number, but Jack Besh, Demarius McGee, Radarius Jones, Cole Taylor, Desmond Little, Colby Fields, Cam Wire, Philip Webb, Antoine Sampa. Those are the players that have entered the portal, the LSU players that have entered the portal. LSU, meanwhile, has offered 4 players in the portal. Kyle Morlock, who is the tight end from Shorter University. He's a grad transfer. He's got offers from tons of schools right now. And with Cole Taylor entering the portal, that would certainly be a position of need for LSU. Braden Fisk, a defensive tackle from Western Michigan. He's a veteran player. He spent 5 seasons at Western Michigan, so he's got a super senior season that he would potentially use at a place like LSU. And then 2 edge players, Braden Swinson from Oregon and Josiah Stewart from Coastal Carolina. Stewart today has narrowed his finalist down to 3. And his final 3 are LSU, Michigan, and Southern Cal. So Josiah Stewart, who was a 3-star prospect coming out of high school. He was out of Massachusetts, the number 34 edge rusher in the country. So was not a widely recruited player. 6'2", 230, but went to Coastal in 2021 and blew up on the scene. Had 12.5 sacks and caught everybody's attention for that great Coastal team 2 years ago. This year, his sack numbers dipped. He had just 3.5 sacks, but had 10 tackles for loss and 36 tackles in all. So still a productive player coming off the edge. It is very, very, very clear what LSU's glaring need in the portal is. And it's an edge rusher or edge rushers. Remember, Desmond Little entered the portal. Philip Webb entered the portal. B.J. Ojulari declared for the draft, which means the only edge player you have on scholarship right now is Xavier Carter. And Carter played in 7 games this year and had 4 tackles. Or 7 games last year, 10 games this year, had 4 tackles this year, mostly as a reserve guy, special team player. So you have got to get edge players. They've got 2 edge players committed for this year's class in Carpenter and Howard. But you got to add more because you're not going to go into this season with the 2 true freshmen and Xavier Carter as your only options on the edge. So what Brian Kelly and his staff can sell is, hey, come into a defense where we have a coach that has maximized this jack linebacker position. We've talked about, of course, Josh Allen, who was the defensive end from Kentucky, Josh Allen, who had the 20-sack season in 2018 and went on to be a first-round draft pick. And now you look at B.J. Ojulari. You saw Harold Perkins in that jack role at times this year. And yes, you can play Perkins at the jack linebacker, but you better believe they want to play him as a 3-down linebacker on the inside. So they need true edge players to fit there, and they're looking for guys that have major college experience. This is the benefit of the transfer portal, y'all. I mean, not that you need me to say it, but I'm just going to say it out loud. Like, yes, of course, you want to build your roster through the high school ranks and build and develop players. Absolutely, that has to be the core foundational piece of your roster so you have stability, so you're not turning over like you did last year with 19 transfers every year. But you're going to have to supplement your roster because you're going to lose guys as well. And you hope over time you recruit well enough to where you don't have this big of a hole. But sometimes it happens at certain positions. I mean, think back to when Les was here. And do you remember that old saying when there was a year, it was a weird stat where LSU had more scholarship kickers than linebackers? I think it was maybe 2013, 2014, right around there. I mean, it was just stunning that it happened that way, but you lost guys due to transfer, and some guys left early for the draft, and you missed on some players. And I mean, I remember there was the 5-star linebacker whose name Clifton Garrett was the 5-star linebacker from Illinois who spent more time at Tigerland than he did on the practice field and was gone after a year and went to, I think, UAB to finish his career. But sometimes it happens. And in a bygone era, there was nothing you could really do about it. Now you got the transfer portal to fill those gaps. That's what LSU's trying to do. So Josiah Stewart is a name to keep an eye on. He's got LSU in his final three. It's LSU, Michigan, and Southern Cal. And then, of course, the defensive end, or the edge player, I should say, out of Oregon, Braden Swinson, is another one who's, he's got 2 seasons of eligibility remaining. He hasn't been a very productive player at Oregon, been kind of just caught up in the jet wash there, but would have an opportunity to provide legit depth on this team and maybe be a strong contributor for LSU. We know also, look, they've already offered a tight end. They're looking at the defensive line because they've got to. They've offered a tight end, and they need a tight end behind Mason Taylor right now. You've got Mac Markway coming in, but when you had Jake Johnson, you had Eric Gilbert, and Johnson flipped, and Gilbert obviously transferred, your tight end numbers got thin to where, you were looking at a guy like Nick Storrs this year coming out of medical retirement, and Jack Mashburn, who was a former walk-on quarterback who you moved to tight end. And no disrespect to those guys, but it's a massive difference when you're talking about that or guys like Gilbert or Jake Johnson, who are these highly rated national prospects at tight end, or Mac Markway coming in. The future of that position is going to be bright, but they still have to add some depth behind Mason Taylor for next year. They're going to also obviously look at cornerback as well. And that's where maybe the most interesting prospect of this transfer class comes in. You've probably heard that LSU is going to host Denver Harris on a visit. So Denver Harris was at one point the number 1 cornerback in the country for last recruiting class, and he signed with Texas A&M. And look, even in spite of some of his off-the-field issues, was playing for the Aggies, playing meaningful minutes early on. He finished as a 5-star, the number 23 overall player in the country for the class of 2022. Was the 4th best cornerback, the 6th best player in the state of Texas, 6'1", 180, out of the Houston area. LSU recruited him. And he had some issues off the field this year, did Denver Harris. So he was suspended for the Texas A&M game. Apparently there was off-the-field issues, missing practice, whatever. I think it was maybe a curfew violation. So he was suspended for the Texas A&M game against Miami. And then was suspended again after a locker room incident, what I think many have described or understood to be that several players were smoking marijuana in the locker room. That has been the report that has been widely accepted as fact. It's tantalizing because you're talking about a guy who is an elite talent at maybe your greatest position of need. But the question becomes, when you work so hard to build a culture in a place, do you sacrifice culture? You sacrifice your ethics for the skill. Last week, when Brian Kelly was on the teleconference announcing the Citrus Bowl, he was asked about their approach to the portal. And here's what Brian Kelly said a week ago.
I mean, I don't want to talk about any particular positions because I think you start then to kind of give away here are our weaknesses. But here's what I would tell you. They got to be the right fit first. They've got to recognize the value of an education from LSU. They've got to have the right traits. We're not just open for business. We're not just putting a sign up saying, hey, we're going to take whoever. They got to be the right fit. I prefer that they're from the state of Louisiana if we can find them. And then, we're going to address needs based upon how that freshman class marries into it by, the particular needs by position class.
So we're not going to put a sign in the yard and say we're open for business. This is an interesting one because this is a guy who clearly had issues in his freshman season there in College Station, but also has the intoxicating talent at your greatest position of need. You're losing Jark Bernard-Converse, you're losing Mekhi Gardner, you're losing Colby Richardson. You're losing your top three corners. You have nobody back with experience except maybe Sevyn Banks if he's healthy enough to go. And you're talking about adding a guy that was, 1 point the highest rated cornerback in his class. But you got to deal with some of the issues. So Denver Harris is going to visit LSU. Brian Kelly will no doubt sit down with him and his mom, and they'll hash out those conversations to see if it's a fit. But I think Brian Kelly at this point deserves to be taken at his word, considering the way I think he handled the Kayshon Boutte situation. Not that Kayshon had off-the-field problems. Don't misunderstand me at all. But you had a star player who needed to get on board, and he did. So I guess I'd say I would trust Brian Kelly's intuition there, and we'll see what happens. But specifically from a football standpoint, it would just be massive. It would be massive if you could land Denver Harris on this team because he would be, provided all is good off the field, he would be a day one starter. When LSU's playing Florida State next year in Orlando in that kickoff game on Labor Day weekend, he would be a day one starter for you. We'll keep you posted. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break, come back, talk about your first place New Orleans Pelicans, those crybaby Phoenix Suns. Stick around, it's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Tonight and every Monday, all-you-can-eat wings. Get by either Pluckers location. Pay one low price. Need as many wings as you want all night long. Of course, you got Monday Night Football tonight. They'll finish off the football weekend, the NFL weekend, with New England at Arizona. Why not watch it at Pluckers while you eat all-you-can-eat wings, 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Of course, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, and all of your sports on TV. Hey, remember, tomorrow, Tuesday, Pluckers is closed at 3 o'clock for their holiday party. So no sports trivia tomorrow night. Make plans accordingly. If you normally get by Pluckers on a Tuesday, they'll close tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So they'll be open for lunch and early afternoon, but close at 3 for their holiday party for all their employees. But Pluckers tonight, wide open for business. Monday Night Football, full slate of NBA games, and all-you-can-eat wings. It's at one place. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dining, carry-out, or delivery. Pluckers, you like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Merry Christmas, happy holiday. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, happy holiday.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Now Landale deflected, taken by Najee. Throw it up the floor to CJ in the left corner. He will take a three and hit the three!
You know what I want for Christmas?
What's that?
New headphones that don't short out.
Okay, yeah. That'd be helpful.
There we go. There we go.
Helpful.
Got it. I just had to whack myself in the ear and this just to get the headphone not to short out. Give me Graff again. Give me Graff.
Slowed it down to Landale, left of the lane. McCollum intercepts it. Front court CJ drives, laid it in, left-handed, and good.
I got a text at 10:55 a.m. on the show text line from Andrew Watson. Just waiting through my workday until I can hear the words, "Give me Graff! Give me Graff!"
Jose, take the three. Now over Landale for three. Heat check, Alvarado! The man is magical.
How hype was our guy? Oh, man.
He was on another level.
How hype was our guy?
As to be expected with those two games.
By the way, the Pels are wheels up right now to Utah. They play the first place Pelicans are wheels up to Utah. They play the Jazz tomorrow. Antonio Daniels will be on AFR tomorrow. Looking forward to having AD. Chatted with him earlier today. We tried to make it work today, but they were wheels up at 2:30 Central. So, but it's going to work. So we'll have him tomorrow to preview the game. Looking forward to it. I just want to look at this. Let's pull this up here. There it is. There are your standings right there. How about that? How beautiful does that look? Western Conference. Pelicans, 18-8.
Winners of 7 straight.
By the way, the Suns are 4th now. 2.5 games back of the Pels.
How's the view from down there?
Yeah. How does it smell down there, huh? Like that gunk in the gutters of Bourbon Street on Mardi Gras. That's how it smells down there, Phoenix. Friday was a lot of fun. The Pels took care of business. The blender was rocking, and Zion was great. The thing that I kind of have to keep reminding myself and reminding people. So the Pels won by 11, 128-117. Graff just texted me. He's listening on the plane. He said we landed 90 minutes. He's listening on the plane. Give me more Graff.
Chest it out to Zion. Right wing three. That is good. His second made three of the afternoon. And the Pels take a 2-point lead. Now a steal, Trey. Jump feed, Z. Extra pass, CJ. Two-hand flush.
Oh, man. 35 points for Zion on Friday night. And you know what was... I love the answer. So if you missed the end of the game, and I don't even want to highlight because there's just so much more to talk about with respect to the game itself. But the dunk at the end, do you have what Zion said after the game about the dunk? You don't. Damn. Okay. I want to find it because I want to play it. God, man. Anyway, essentially, I don't want to paraphrase it. I want to play it. And I'm sorry that I'm having to do this live on air. But Zion said, I just want to win. What? You got it? Okay, yeah, if you have it.
They sent my teammates home last year. I missed all last year. I got carried away a little bit. I admit that. But, I was in that locker room. My brothers were down because, the Suns sent us home last year. That's a tough moment to be a part of. So, in that moment, I got carried away. I admit that. That was out of character for me. So, if they was to do the same thing, I wouldn't have no problem with it.
And I loved the sort of arm pump into the air. It was so good, man. I was sitting we were at my in-laws having dinner. The whole family was on Friday night, and they don't have Bally Sports New Orleans. So Graf was listening, but also had the game on my phone when I could steal away and watch it. I was sitting at their table just watching the end of it on my phone, and I saw the dunk and the little scuffle after. And I immediately went to, if you want to comp, because it's like a sportsmanship thing, we talked last week about Georgia going for 2 against LSU to put 50 on the board. They ran a trick play going for 2, but they were up 4 touchdowns. The game was over, and they decided to do it. And what I would tell you is there's a big difference because of this. The game was clearly over, and that was an intentional play to hit 50, to hit a milestone, to add embarrassment. Zion, the Suns could have dribbled out the clock at the end of the game. They decided to go on offense, and Larry Nance got the ball out in the pack to Zion and did what he did. I have no problem with him doing it. He's put on a show. He had a chance for I think his Graf called it a dunk contest dunk, which is what it was, and it was awesome. And my thought was in that moment, man, awesome win. I think Muse, we talked about it on Friday. I just said, just split. Just split. You split, you still you leave the weekend in first place, and you give yourself an opportunity, because the 2 teams play again on Saturday in Phoenix. You give yourself an opportunity to tie, at worst, the season series, which for tiebreaker purposes down the line could matter. And so my thought was, after he had the dunk, and I thought, man, Phoenix is really going to come out motivated. They're going to be really pissed off, and they're probably going to put the pedal down. And, of course, look, no BI, no Herb. And my assumption was they were really going to target Zion. And not in a negative way, like they were going to hurt him or anything, just like they were going to make sure that they took him out, knocked him off his game and took him out of the game. And they did nothing of the sort. He still scored 35 points, and they had no answer for him because nobody has an answer for him. That's the thing, is when everyone is gunning to stop you and they still cannot do it, that illustrates the matchup problem that you are. I was asked earlier today, and I tweeted after the game, I don't care that it's December. I don't care that it's December. That win was fun. The weekend was fun. And this team is a contender, so enjoy it. And if you're a Pelicans fan, you should enjoy it. And if you're if you're sort of a casual observer, not really sure if you don't like the NBA, get on board. They're a fun team. They win. They got a great core nucleus. They play hard. They're committed defensively. And you're seeing great depth on this team. I think Jake Madison was with us last week, and he had a great point when he said, look, eventually this depth isn't going to matter as much, I'm paraphrasing, because when you get to the playoffs, you're going to shorten your bench down to about 8 guys. Your rotation is really going to be about 8 guys. And so you're going to need, obviously, Herb and BI back healthy and playing their best when you get into May and then June, hopefully. But for now, but to get there at the most advantageous spot, maybe winning the division, maybe being the number 1 seed, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, you just took not the defending conference champ, but the team that had the best record in the NBA a year ago, and you just punked them twice on your home floor without 2 starters. You're showing off your depth right now. And that's why, and look, they're going to get healthier. And this depth is illustrating why this isn't a fluke. Someone asked me today, like, hey, do you think they can sustain this? Of course they can, because they're doing it right now without 40% of their starting lineup. I mean, you've seen CJ miss time this year. You've seen Zion miss time this year. They've had injuries. They've had guys miss time, and they're still sitting there at 18-8 with the best record in the Western Conference right now. So, yeah, this is sustainable. The question is, when they get to the playoffs, are they going to be a playoff-ready team? And it's great to have a seasoned guy like a CJ who's been there and been through it. It's great that this team had the playoff experience a year ago, but we're 4 months away from those conversations. But in the short term, yeah, man, this is a fun team that's showing off its depth, that's showing off a great young coach, that's showing off a fan base that is engaged with this team, such that on a Friday night in December, an NFL Sunday afternoon in December, you had 15,000 people in the Smoothie King Center. It's pretty fantastic to see. The attendance yesterday, by the way, the official listed attendance for the Sunday game was 18,681. The capacity of the Blender is 16,867. I mean, they're legit. They're not going anywhere. They warrant all the conversation, all the love, all the admiration, all the bouquets they're getting. Continue to pace appropriately. Solidify yourself with one of those top 4 seeds, hopefully the number 1 number seed. So you get a first-round playoff series with home court advantage and see if you can put it together and go on a run. But, man, they're a lot of fun to watch right now. And I think Sunday was even more impressive because you knew that team was going to be gunning for you, and they still couldn't do anything about it. All right, by the way, the Pels and Suns wrap up their regular season series Saturday in Phoenix. It does kind of suck that this is going to end in December. Like, you'd love to see these two teams playing, in April, in meaningful games down the stretch. But such is life, is the way the schedules are made. But Pels can win the season series on Saturday with a win in Phoenix. But first things first, they play in Utah tomorrow. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break, come back, and wrap up hour number 2, Muse Lab Tigers and the Pros. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR. It's a raving fan shout-out. Presented by Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty.
Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them. It's agent225.com. That's agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, call Darren James and get your home sold. I'm going to give you the phone number in just a second, but just remember, working with Darren James, he has a way of making you feel like you are his only client. I've been through this experience 3 times with Darren. We've bought 2 homes, and he sold our first home. So we've been on the buyer and the seller side. Something else that I'll stress to you with Darren, he's got flexible commissions. I mean, commissions are always negotiable. But it's not about the money for Darren. It's about helping you get on to the next phase in life, whatever that may be. Maybe you're an empty nester. Maybe your family's growing and you need that bigger home. Whatever it may be, you want Darren James to help you. 335-7666 or online at agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Days after a state trooper shot and killed a man hauling more than 150 pounds of cocaine through Baton Rouge, state police say their investigation is ongoing. We know tonight a special task force aimed at taking drugs off the streets initiated the stop in an area known as a drug corridor in Baton Rouge. The investigative unit digs into what that team does and how it keeps the streets safe. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-11.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Eddie Radosevich, covers OU, is going to join us coming up after the top of the hour. Could Oklahoma and Texas be joining the SEC sooner than we anticipated? There is news there. We'll get to it in less than 10 minutes. Right now, Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, let's start with the Browns and Bengals because there's a heavy LSU presence in this game, obviously. Joey B yesterday, one day after his birthday, 18 of 33 for two touchdowns and an interception, 239 yards passing, ran the ball 6 times for 10 yards. Jamar Chase was on the receiving end of 10 of those completions for 119 yards and a touchdown. Beautiful throw. On an in-breaking route there for the touchdown to Chase. And that one, Jamar carried the ball once for 6 yards. On the other side, defensively, Grant Delpit was totaled up 4 tackles in the game, but it was Deion Jones who stole the show defensively for Cleveland. Second on the team with 7 tackles in the game, 2 passes defensed, and an interception of Joe Burrow. Cade York, 1 of 1 with a long of 26 and made his only extra point attempt, 4 points in the game for Cade York. Dallas Cowboys, Damone Clark was the second leading tackler for Dallas yesterday in their escape job against the Texans. 6 tackles in all for Clark. 3 of them were solo in that game. For the Minnesota Vikings, they lost to the Lions. Justin Jefferson did his dead level best. 11 receptions off of 15 targets for 223 yards, along of 47. He did, however, not find the end zone. You know who did find the end zone was DJ Chark on the other sideline. 6 receptions in the game for Chark, 94 yards, and the score, 48 yards, was his long. Patrick Queen turned in a solid outing for the Ravens yesterday. 6 tackles in the game, 1 hit on the quarterback, and an interception. A pretty impressive interception as well. It was in the middle of the field, and he got up off the ground and fell backwards, making the catch for the Ravens, who beat the Steelers yesterday without Lamar Jackson. And Terrace Marshall, he had 1 catch in the game. The Panthers beat the Seahawks, but did you see it? He caught the ball with his legs, Matt. 1 catch for 18 yards in crunch time.
He did what?
Caught the ball with his legs. He maybe touched it for 20 seconds with his hands, and then it fell between his legs, and he caught it.
For 20 seconds?
Maybe. That's being conservative. I mean, it wasn't in his hands for very long. He caught it in his legs.
No, you said 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
No, it was like a second.
Okay. I said maybe. Look.
The whole play didn't last 20 seconds.
It was an incredible catch. And it was clutch.
By saying he had his hands for 20
LSU,
seconds.
Go to 2019 LSU. That's Tigers in the pros.
When you say 20 seconds, you're minimizing what he did, which was catch the ball with his legs.
And only his legs.
That's what I'm saying. Don't say 20 seconds. It glanced off his fingers. All right, 3 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Again, theantiagingclinics.com. Y'all, gift cards. All this month at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. You can go by either location, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, right near Perkins, or Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Buy your gift card. You can get your gift cards online. You can go in person. Remember, for every gift card you buy, it also unlocks great specials. With the dollar amount going up, the better the special you get. It's all this month at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Great for you, a family member, a stocking stuffer, a gift exchange at work. You want to look and feel like your younger self these holidays? Let the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana help. Voted the nation's best aesthetic practice. Your leader for all things anti-aging. It's the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com.
Three people walk into a bar. The first two order the same old margs. The third, Nuevo Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer. Crafted with real lime juice and a crisp tequila flavor. Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are
the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications. The powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution. A network built for every possibility. Moving faster than ever before. Streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Mississippi State football coach Mike Leach remains hospitalized in critical condition after suffering a massive heart attack at home yesterday, according to the Clarion Ledger. Texas men's basketball coach Chris Beard was arrested this morning on a felony domestic violence charge. He's out of jail on bond. His attorney told the Austin American-Statesman Beard is 100% innocent of the charges. Number 7 Texas is set to host Rice tonight. 49ers rookie quarterback Brock Purdy, coming off an impressive performance in the win over the Buccaneers, says he believes he'll play Thursday versus Seattle despite an oblique injury. Purdy's teammates confident he can get the job done, as they should be, says ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick.
He doesn't have to just be a point guard. He's a guy who can buy time in the pocket. He can make great decisions on the run. He can fit the football all over the football field. It's short, intermediate, and deep. He can make the off-schedule throws. He can get them in the right kind of plays. And, these kind of things are just going to accelerate as time goes on.
The Chargers' optimistic edge rusher Joey Bosa and left tackle Rashawn Slater could return from IR at some point this season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. If you missed Jeff Duncan in hour number 1, he's got I'd call it an explosive column. I mean, insinuating the possibility that Sean Payton could return to the New Orleans Saints. Not saying it's likely that it will happen, but laying out the scenario how it could. If you missed that conversation, it's there on demand at 1045ESPN.com or the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. We saw earlier today news that there are talks heating up apparently for Texas and Oklahoma to join the SEC sooner than sooner. Get it? That's an Oklahoma pun. Unintended, but I do love puns. Oh, my God! It's a Christmas miracle! Musso got the rim shot! It only took 2 years of asking, but
I don't know if it was quite 2 years. Chill out.
How long you been back on the show?
Not 2 years. That's how I know it hadn't been 2 years.
It only took 18 months.
There we go.
It's happened. All right. So we welcome on our friend Eddie Radosevich from Sooner Scoop. And if you don't remember Eddie, this is one of his first ever appearances on the show.
And let's be honest, not a hit to any of the other fan bases, but waking up and knowing that you got a game down in Baton Rouge or the LSU's in Norman, it's a little bit more exciting than welcoming in Iowa State or a Kansas to Norman.
You'll have Vanderbilt on the schedule as well, so get ready.
I think that's the first thing Oklahoma's going to try and do is get Vanderbilt kicked out. It's kind of like beating somebody up in prison on the first day.
All right, so we welcome Eddie Radosevich back to AFR. How are you, friend?
Gentlemen, good evening. Now, I will say, I think that was about 380 days ago, and the importance of the call was me telling you guys you're idiots for thinking Lincoln Riley was going to come to Baton Rouge. And I think I said something along the lines of, he'll never leave Norman. And like 6 days later, he said, F it, I'm out of here. So I trust that everybody doesn't believe that anything I will have to say.
It doesn't matter. I was looking back at some of our text messages that you and I had back a year ago with the Lincoln Riley stuff. And I was convinced that he was leaving, or he was open to leaving, It was just pretty clear the destination is what we had wrong. Hey, by the way, that is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. What is the general mood there in Norman watching? And this isn't like a salt in the wound. I'm legitimately curious watching Lincoln Riley turn around SC and then Caleb Williams winning a Heisman.
I compare it a little bit to the scene in Lebowski, Big Lebowski, when they're watching the Jesus Bowl. And they're just like, the creep can roll. Well, evidently, Lincoln Riley can call an offense. There's no doubt about it. But, yeah, it's like it was a tough watch this year to come home, watch the kind of the S show that Oklahoma football was, and then, watch SC throw for 500 yards every night against some scrub Pac-12 team.
Why did Oklahoma stink this year?
They were about as undisciplined as you could possibly imagine, which was, I think, the biggest surprise. When you think about a Brent Venables, just in general, he's going to have a team that is very disciplined, and it's something they talked about for 11 months, and it never came to fruition. So that was the front end, and then on the back end, when they had chances to win football games in the fourth quarter, they just didn't. And it happened about 4 or 5 times. You lose 4 or 5 games that are one possession, games that you have an opportunity with under 7 minutes left to win, and they just didn't make enough plays. And I think that that's kind of the thing that a lot of people, there's still a ton of support behind the scenes for Brent Venables and everything that they're trying to build. But, it just didn't come together in year one. And I think that, the Oklahoma fans would like to tell you that was something that, they had been seeing, I think, creep into the back end of the Lincoln Riley era, was just inattention to detail, discipline, things like that. And they kind of came to the forefront this year, and they weren't able to cover it up with historically great offense.
Will Brent Venables be Oklahoma's coach when they join the SEC?
Yes, I think that will. I think that we can say that. Now, the good news is, or I guess the interesting news on that front, it might be a little bit sooner here in about 1.5 years, 2 years.
Okay, so that was really the impetus for the call and having you on today. So there are reports earlier today that there's what is being described as growing sentiment or momentum for Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 a year early and joining the SEC, not this coming season, but the following. So for 2024, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I think that, if you were to ask people behind the scenes in Norman, I think that that's kind of what they've been angling for a while. I guess the idea that they were going to be in the Big 12 through 2025 and, 3 more years of just kind of being in limbo. I don't know if people in Norman were too keen on that idea. And I think that, obviously when they went out and got the 4 teams that are coming in to join the Big 12 this next season, you knew things were going to be a little bit awkward. But, at the same time, I think that people, especially around Norman, wanted to basically, not get out, but I think that at some point, with as much change as going on with the Big 12, with Brett Yormark coming in, never visiting Austin and Norman, which was to be expected in a way. I think that there was just an idea that, the sooner the better. At some point, I think cooler heads will prevail. And if you want to just get this move over with, it's kind of the best for everybody. It works out for the Big 12 with their new TV contract. And then at the same time, I think it would work best for Oklahoma and Texas just to make this move and kind of get this, divorce, if you will, finalized and out of the way.
So we've all seen the number for the exit fee, right? $84 million per school. Can you break down how that works? I mean, is it just Texas and OU just flatly are going to have to pay $84 million to leave early?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't think that they're going to be able to get out scot-free. I don't think anybody believes that. But at some point, you would have to imagine that ESPN will get involved. They're the ones that are, at the end of the day, probably writing the checks, and especially for this last year, the Big 12 media rights. You almost wonder, and Brett Murphy kind of alluded to this morning in his stadium report, at some point does ESPN just come in and say, okay, they're going to make the move, will compensate or will help this move somehow, some way on the back end, whether it be this final year of the television contract or if Oklahoma and Texas, if they could just each get $50 million and then maybe ESPN dust it up at the end. That's me just giving an idea. Obviously, it's not as easy as doing so, or else it would probably already be done if ESPN could just wash their hands of this. But at the same time, OU and Texas leaving a year on the media right. That's going to take away money from the Big 12 as a whole. So that's kind of where it gets messy. I just have a hard time thinking that anybody's going to want to continue to do this for 2 years and speculation and everything else that comes with it. So it works best if OU and Texas can get out after 2023. I think that Oklahoma and Texas fans are probably already preparing mentally for at least 2 of the 4 visits, whether it be Orlando, Provo, Cincinnati, or Houston. I know Texas and Houston are probably going to tangle at some point. OU's probably headed to Provo or Orlando, but it'll be interesting to see how this final year goes. It was definitely awkward just traveling on the road, covering Oklahoma this year and seeing kind of the, I guess, hatred and fervor that came with, anytime Oklahoma comes down, it's different, but it was especially nasty this year in some of the places that it went. There was blood in the water, I guess is the best way to say it.
Eddie Radosevich is with us, Soonerscoop.com. So he's referring to, obviously, is BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF are all entering the Big 12 for this coming season. So Texas and OU will be playing conference games against some combination of BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and Central Florida before, obviously, OU and Texas jump into the SEC, presumably in 2024 if they get it done. Do you do the percentage thing? Like, do you want to put a percentage on the possibility or probability of Texas and Oklahoma playing as SEC members in 2024?
I mean, I just coming from the angle and perspective of folks in Norman, I think it's probably somewhere north of 60, 65%. Okay. I mean, and especially when you throw in the idea that, and I would almost even say 80% just if you wanted to get really crazy, just because the college football playoff stuff, if they're going to expand, from an SEC angle, you would think that they would want Oklahoma and Texas a part of it to make the conference, in a way stronger. Maybe for some teams, the way that both those teams are playing right now, some easy wins.
But that is another interesting angle to it, though, is with the playoff expanding for 2024. Of course, you would like the conferences to be realigned to what they're going to be whenever the playoff rolls around. Last thing, do you what is the sentiment there in Norman about scheduling when in the SEC? Because there's still a lot of debate if it's going to be 8 games, 9 games, permanent opponents. Like, who does Oklahoma have like a wish list of who they would like to play every year?
Oh, I think that there's probably people within the fan base that would love to play A&M just because they've gone head-to-head with some recruiting battles. LSU, I'm sure, is familiar with that. Obviously they want to keep the rivalry game with Texas, and it's going to be interesting to see how that's preserved. But, Arkansas, I think, here over the last couple of years has kind of rustled the feathers of Oklahoma fans. I think that would be a fun, next door thing. And it's kind of weird. We just got out of they played up in Tulsa over the weekend at the BOK Center, and the OU Arkansas fans, I wouldn't say it's a friendly rivalry, but I think it is kind of a fun rivalry, if you will. And I don't even know if rivalry is the right word. It's just, I think that would be a fun matchup. And then, from a perspective of just kind of reliving some Big 8 rivalry, I guess Missouri would be fun. I truly don't, it doesn't matter to me as far as like the setup of what they do with the conference schedule, but I am kind of intrigued with all the options that are out there. I'd like the pod idea, but I know that that's probably not going to win at the end of the day.
It seems like they're not going to go pods, but there's going to have to be some type of permanent opponent deal because the SEC is going to maintain Bama, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia, some of those things that nobody else cares about except their fan bases. So it's going to be a fascinating next 24 months or so. But we'll keep bothering you when it warrants, or maybe just to hang out and look at your crazy picture that Paul puts up here. Do you remember this crazy wide-eyed picture of you with the blue Masters hat on? That's the one that we use on TV.
Yeah, I think it's one of my sexy pictures. It's one of my photo. What would that be? What are those things called that they used to have at the mall? You go, your picture's taken. Glamour shot. That's what I'm thinking.
A glamour shot. Would you like for us to change it?
It doesn't matter to me. I can send you guys a shirtless one.
I'll pass on the shirtless photo, but I mean, I don't know. Like, if there are those who may desire a more like credible picture, I would say, instead of something that made you look like a serial killer. But whatever.
Well, here's the thing. I'm 0 for 1 with you guys. I said Lincoln Riley wasn't going anywhere. I just laid out OU to the SEC, which probably won't happen until 2028. So, I'll give you guys a call, or you guys give me a call when you want something wrong again.
You know what? I would love to do that maybe like next year when LSU plays in the SEC championship game and everybody's picking Georgia again. And you could pick Georgia, and then maybe we'll flip it.
I'm waiting for my reimbursement because I'm still waiting for LSU to cover the 18.5 that I got hung out on the line for.
Oh, God, that was so disappointing. All right.
Tell me about
it. Well, I know. Well, hey, look, I was there, okay? You didn't have to be there and watch it. I was there, man. Anyway.
Hey, I've gotten in the mood of not covering conference championships over the last 2 years and sitting around and drinking. I can see why people subscribe to that.
Eddie Radosevich on Twitter at Eddie_Rado, Soonerscoop.com. Y'all go give him a follow. Hey, appreciate the time as always, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Anytime.
All right, be well. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out a quick break. We had Jeff Duncan here in hour number 1 talking about the possibility of Sean Payton returning to the Saints. I want to give you my opinion on Jeff's column. We'll do that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. LAinsurance.net. Better coverage for less money. How about this one? AFR listener named Brad had his home and auto with different carriers. Liberty Mutual for the home, Allstate with the auto insurance. Adam was able to beat what he was paying on both substantially. Now, they didn't increase coverage, but got him the same amount of coverage that he had. Lowered his hurricane deductible from $9,000 to $5,000. So saved him $4,000 on his hurricane deductible and saved him $2,700 a year between both policies. Better coverage, less money. Save $2,700 a year. How much are you overpaying on your insurance right now? Don't do it. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. Let them shop for free to find you better coverage for less money. 293-0450, 293-0450, or LAinsurance.net.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Should Sean Payton return to the Saints? Going to get to that in a second. You probably saw this story over the weekend as well. Cam Jordan tweeted, he tweeted, most expensive fine to date from the @NFL came in yesterday. He added, added stressor for no reason. And then that wasn't it. Cam would go on and tweet a couple more times about this. He said a few minutes later, are fines made by NFL open to the public? I just feel like this should be public knowledge because some of the fines are silly, but this one, ridiculous. Anyways, and for what a deliberate action to delay game before a team punts, NFL just wanted a new Paytech Aquanaut or something. I don't know. Cam Jordan essentially taking issue with the NFL fining him. He said, agent told me about it initially. I laughed and was like, that's ridiculous. Clearly aggravated something. Then he told me how much the fine was. He put a shocked face emoji. He says, and I've been irked ever since. The Saints have, in fact, issued a statement where they deny the allegations that Cam Jordan was purposely delaying the game. They say felt foot pain following a third down play, sought medical attention, entered the blue medical tent, was examined by the medical staff. Following the exam, he was taped and able to finish the game. He had an MRI performed the following day, confirmed he suffered an acute midfoot sprain in his left foot. He'd been at the facility each day receiving treatment for his injury. He suffered on the play. The Saints will appeal the fines through proper channels and believe the allegations will be proved incorrect. Okay. So fines like this are given out every week. You just very seldom hear about them unless if the players go public with them or it's your team. And every time something like that happens with the Saints, it feels like the NFL is sticking it to the Saints, even though it does sometimes seem like it's more intentional. The fines happen weekly. That's not surprising. The Saints will have their chance to appeal. We'll see what comes of it. The amount, though, does seem ridiculous. The Saints were fined $350,000. Dennis Allen was fined $100,000. Co-defensive coordinators Ryan Nielsen co-defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen and Cam Jordan were each fined $50,000 for what is described as their role in the fourth quarter delay of game. I'm just going to look forward to if and when a reversal of this fine is made public because Cam Jordan has kind of been the ultimate NFL Iron Man. Of course, his Iron Man streak was broken last year due to COVID, and then he missed a game this year because of a fractured orbital bone. I can't imagine a guy on the Saints team, literally. I can't imagine anyone else less likely to fake an injury for a delay of game than Cam Jordan. So we'll wait and see what happens with that if, in fact, the fine is able to be overturned. All right, it's after further review. DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Want to place your bet? You can. It is still NBA season. The NBA season is getting cranked up, and right now you can place a $5 money line bet on any NBA game. If you hit, they'll give you $150 in free bets. That's for new customers. You got to use the promo code Baton Rouge again. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 money line bet on any NBA game. If it hits, they'll give you $150 in free bets. All customers, new or existing, you can cash in on stepped-up same-game parlays. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. You can boost up to 100% on same-game parlays. Look, you got Monday Night Football tonight. Otter locks are coming up. By the way, the Otter and his band of merry handicappers, 11-2 yesterday on their bets. Ding, please, if we could, for the Otter and his band of merry handicappers. 11-2 yesterday. How you doing? It was a good Sunday for you, boy. Told y'all. Make your bets at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge.
21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus issued as free bets. Eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, so the Otter is coming up, by the way, later this hour. We'll get you Otter locks. And our guy Paul Nolan, 2-0 yesterday. How about a double ding for Paul Nolan? Got him. A couple of rocking chair covers as well. He had Carolina, and then he had the over in the Minnesota-Detroit game. So hit them both, 2-0. I tell you all the time, text the word free to 313-GET-INFO. Text the word free, F-R-E-E, to 313-GET-INFO. And get the free plays from Paul Nolan, part of our show on Thursdays. We appreciate Paul. I'm going to put my notes away. So Jeff Duncan had his column at NOLA.com on Sunday that caught a lot of people off guard. And to his credit, Jeff said it was one of the hardest columns he's had to write, in large part because he was talking about a new coach for the Saints when the Saints have a coach. And a coach who, by all accounts, is a good guy in Dennis Allen, who's liked and respected by his players, the organization, the fans, all that sort of stuff. So it is awkward sometimes when you're talking about replacing a guy or firing a coach or something like that when he has a job. And I can respect that from a guy who's very professional in the way Jeff does things, not wanting to put that out there. But at the same time, it's becoming an unavoidable conversation about Sean Payton, who continues to insist he's going to coach again next year. And when Jeff has gotten information like he shared with us earlier in the show that Sean Payton has been evaluating rosters, including the Saints roster. The Saints have Sean Payton's rights for the next 2 years. Mickey Loomis is not likely to let Sean Payton coach against the Saints, meaning in the division at potentially Carolina, although Steve Wilkes is doing a great job and might be in line to get that job. But I'll say this. I had not really considered the possibility of Sean Payton coming back to the Saints. At no point had I considered that possibility. But the reason isn't because I thought he wouldn't come or the Saints didn't want him back or anything like that. It was that I couldn't fathom the idea of Dennis Allen being a one and done. So even with some of the early season struggles, when we started hearing Sean Payton do interviews and reports come out about the possibility of Payton coaching next year and his desire to coach next year, I emotionally was at a point where I had separated from Sean Payton. I just realized super grateful for the 16 years, bringing respect, credibility, a winning culture to New Orleans, the first ever Super Bowl championship, so many great Sundays, and super grateful for it, but understanding that the time had come and Payton will coach somewhere else. And I'm okay with that. And for this franchise right now, what I want is the draft capital. That had always been my stance. Because the Saints have a coach. I don't want to, this isn't exactly apples to apples, but it's like when sometimes you hear LSU fans talk about Nick Saban going to Alabama. Well, the LSU job wasn't open. He took the best job available. It's a similar situation. The Saints job isn't open. So Sean Payton was always going to come back and coach, but he's going to coach somewhere else where they have an opening. But with every loss, it's more and more of a possibility that the Saints could move on from Dennis Allen. It's something that I have flatly said I endorse at this point. And y'all know I'm not fire the coach guy. I've never been fire the coach guy. But what I do know is, and I believe, is the New Orleans Saints are not going to win anything of significance for as long as Dennis Allen is their coach. He's not a general. He can't do this job. Great defensive coordinator, by all accounts, a great guy who's liked and respected, and all that, and it's just wonderful. But not every lieutenant's meant to be a general. That's Dennis Allen, from my view. So now you're sitting here you're creating new ways to lose. You blow up a 2-touchdown lead on Monday Night Football, which for all intents and purposes ends your season. You're going to play out the string over these final 4 games. And the question is, how bad can it get? You're playing Atlanta and a rookie quarterback. You're at Cleveland, at Philly, against Deshaun Watson, and then against the best team in the NFL, the Eagles. And then you're home against Carolina, which controls its destiny in the NFC South. If you lose out here and you finish the season on a 6-game losing streak and you finish 4-13, you got to fire him. Because the situation he inherited wasn't bad enough that there is any justification for winning 4 games. Or honestly, winning 5 or 6 games with this team. You had a better quarterback situation this year than you did a year ago, even with the injuries. You were better at, you remember, like, Marquez Callaway was your number 1 receiver a year ago. Marquez Callaway was your number 1 receiver a year ago. You're healthier. You've had better weapons, better options this year than you did a year ago. And even his defense, Dennis Allen's defense, his defense stunk for the first half of this year. As his defense. So, yeah. I think you're at a point where there's a real possibility, depending on how the next 4 weeks go, regardless of what Mrs. Benson and Mickey Loomis have as their standard operating procedure, that if this gets bad enough, you get to a point where you have to move on from him. And if Sean Payton is a legit option, remember, the Saints do retain his rights for the next 2 years. Why not have a reunion? He is an organization builder. I'll tell you this. The situation that Sean Payton inherited in 2006 was devastatingly worse than this one. He didn't have a quarterback then either. The roster was a mess. You were a vagabond team. You didn't even know if you had a building to play in or a city to come home to. And look what he did. He can do it again. Rested, recharged, ready to roll. I would even submit that if he's legitimately interested in taking the Saints job again, I don't care what happens the next 4 games. Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame coach who would want to coach your team again. You let the Hall of Fame coach your team again, regardless of the cost, because you'll make it up with winning. Hadn't considered it because I didn't think Dennis Allen, there was a realistic possibility he could be a one and done. That's a realistic possibility now. And so too is Sean Payton returning to New Orleans. I'm not saying it's likely. What I am saying is it's possible. It's plausible. And with every Saints loss, you get closer and closer to that becoming a reality. Let's see where the conversation is a week from today after the Saints host a rookie quarterback making his first start in the Dome. See how that one goes. All right, if you got feedback on that or feeling, let me know. You can email me, Matt, at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet me at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat and the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel or text in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We'll knock out a quick break. I'll get some of your interaction on Sean Payton when we come back next. And the way too early Heisman 2023 list is out. There's a name on it you'll be interested in. We'll talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Earlier today, we had brought Drew over to the doctor. He had his cardiology appointment today, and the office is over there on the Baton Rouge General campus where we go see the cardiologist. So got to drive by the General today and the holiday lights that I tell you about all the time. Boy, it looks good even during the daytime. Learn more at brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. Of course, the holiday lights at the Baton Rouge General are a great festive way to spend some time this holiday season. Remember, they'll be all the way up through Christmas and then past Christmas on to New Year's Eve. The holiday lights stay up. So you can't miss it if you're driving down Bluebonnet. You're driving down Bluebonnet, just look across from the mall at the Baton Rouge General. You'll see the holiday lights right there. It lights up the whole sky. And, of course, if you can go to the website at brgeneral.org, right there on the homepage, you'll see how you can learn more about times you can walk through, how to get tickets available, where to park, all that stuff. It's the holiday lights at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Learn more at brgeneral.org. That's brgeneral.org. For the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org.
Roughly half of children in foster care drop out of school. But you can rewrite that story. Children and youth with CASA and GAL volunteers are more likely to succeed in school. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Congrats to Caleb Williams, who won the Heisman Trophy. Not that that was in any way a surprise, because a lot of cowardly voters didn't vote for the best player in college football this year, who was Hendon Hooker. But they just jumped in the media echo chamber and voted for the best quarterback, who put up a lot of numbers and all that sort of stuff. But it's what it is. So the way too early Heisman contenders for next season have been listed by ESPN, or would say are their way too early Heisman contenders, and they put them in tiers. First, they looked at the top contenders, as you would expect. Caleb Williams, who would be the returning Heisman Trophy winner, of course. Drake May from North Carolina, who was a stat stuffer on a pretty bad, well, no, I wouldn't say pretty bad team. They're pretty good this year, at least for a bad ACC is how I would put it. And then TCU quarterback Chandler Morris, which I don't know that makes a whole lot of sense to put Chandler Morris among the top contenders, but whatever. The next tier was interesting, though, because they had up-and-comers, and they listed Arch Manning, which, okay. Kyle McCord, who's the likely starting quarterback at Ohio State next season. And then after McCord, they put Cade Klubnik from Clemson, and that one does make a lot of sense, because Klubnik, when he got his opportunity, was a really good player this year, and, of course, DJU transferred out, and that one does make a lot of sense. This was the interesting category because they listed momentum players, so players sort of that maybe carry into next season. And the first on the list is Jordan Travis from Florida State. And Jordan Travis, of course, LSU fans got to see up close and personal this year in the opener against Florida State, where he was largely unstoppable. He's coming back for a 6th season. And I said this last week, and some of y'all laughed at me when I said it, but LSU and Florida State next year is going to be a battle of preseason top 10 teams. Florida State's just on the outskirts of the top 10, and if LSU beats Purdue in the bowl game, which I suspect they will, they could well finish at or just on the outskirts of the top 10. And both teams next year should be in the preseason top 10. So when they play in Orlando, that's going to be a major marquee matchup on that Sunday before Labor Day. Well, after Jordan Travis, they list Tyler Show from Texas Tech, Michael Penix Jr. from Washington, who's the reigning national passing leader this year, who's returning next season to UW. Michigan running back Donovan Edwards, Ohio State wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., and then LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels. Most notably, they'll need to get Jaden Daniels to return for a fifth college season. But the write-up reads, in his first year at a new school, battling a few injuries and learning a completely new system, all the Arizona State transfer did was throw for 2,774 yards, 16 touchdowns, rush for 818 yards and 11 more scores, and lead LSU to an upset of Alabama and an SEC West title. If he chooses to return to Baton Rouge in 2023, he would enjoy solid continuity in the receiving corps with Malik Neighbors, Kayshon Boutte, and others returning, and he could produce at an even higher level. And then they list a couple of others, redemption stories. They mentioned Devin Leary from NC State, who's going to be, they don't even have, Devin Leary is transferring. He doesn't even have a destination. They're listing him here. And then Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel. It is interesting to me how, normally fans stump for their guy and play the disrespect card a lot. Like, why didn't my guy make All-American or All-Conference? Or there's I don't know if you saw this, like somebody at ESPN ranked all the teams of the playoff era, and they have 2019 LSU ranked second behind 2020 Alabama, which is laughable. But, of course, LSU fans are going to latch onto that and play the disrespect card and crush that guy because you go to bat for your team. Now, that's justified because 2019 LSU is the greatest college football team ever. But it's just so interesting with Daniels because LSU fans, it's flipped. Like, it's interesting how the outsiders think more of Jaden Daniels than LSU fans seem to think of Jaden Daniels. And it's hard for me to understand. Maybe it's because, like, he wasn't your choice before the season. A lot of you wanted Miles Brennan or a lot of you wanted Nussmeier. But I still don't understand how you can look at objective data like a guy throwing for 2,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, rushing for over 800 yards, becoming just the fourth player in LSU history to account for 3,000 yards in a season, leading you to a West championship, being dominant against Florida and Ole Miss and Alabama. And, like, what you choose to focus on instead was, well, he threw for 85 yards against Auburn. Or they lost to Texas A&M, which happened. Those are things that happened. But the only reason you were in the position you were in this year is because that guy came in and had the season he did. And if he comes back, that is a great thing for LSU football, regardless of who transfers. Like, you just saw a transfer win the Heisman Trophy. I mean, Jaden Daniels is a transfer. Joe Burrow was a transfer. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, transfer. Like, it's the nature of college football. Yes, you'd love to have some guy come up through your system and be your starting quarterback for 3 years. Sign as a freshman, start maybe as a sophomore, and start sophomore, junior, and go off to the league. That'd be great. That's also not the reality everywhere. That's okay. It's the nature of the position and the nature of college football today. You just want the guy that's under center wearing purple and gold to be awesome. And Jaden Daniels was for a bulk of this year, and I think would be even better if he comes back for a fifth year next year. So we're waiting on that decision. One other thing about Daniels' decision I want to talk about. Let me quickly remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, though. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. You can give a Williamson Eye Center gift card for Christmas. So if you want to buy someone in your family, someone on your list, LASIK, you can do that and get a gift card from the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020. Give them a buzz, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. They got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area, including the newest location in the River Parishes down in Lutcher, but the primary location right there on the Baton Rouge General Campus, in the same building that I was in earlier today where Drew's cardiologist was. But it's beautiful. The optical shop's on the first floor. The entire second floor is the Williamson Eye Center, where their state-of-the-art surgery center is. Give them a buzz. Go for that free consultation, 924-2020. See 2020 without contacts or glasses. The Williamson Eye Center makes it happen every single day. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. One quick thing to remember about Jaden Daniels' timeline and everybody else. Normally, we would hear draft decisions after the bowl game. So keep the timeline in mind. LSU is going to play on January 2nd. The transfer portal window closes on January the 18th. So players that plan to enter the portal, that window, the 45-day window closes on the 18th. So 16 days after the bowl game. And then the deadline for early entrance into the draft is January the 20th. So LSU plays on the 2nd. Then there's 18 days till the NFL early draft or early entry into the draft deadline comes on the 20th. So before this opt-out of bowl game culture, we always would find out guys' decisions after the bowl game. So it's completely possible that we don't hear a decision from Jaden Daniels until after the bowl game, provided he intends to play in the bowl game, which I suspect he does. We haven't heard anything to the contrary, and the Tigers began practice for the bowl game today. So if Jaden Daniels is out there getting ready for the bowl game, I presume he's going to play and then make his decision theoretically after the bowl game. So just keep in mind, I know everyone's sort of aching to hear what those decisions are going to be, and I understand. I'm just as eager as all of you to know, but some of those may not come until after the bowl game. So just keep that in mind. All right, it's after further review. We will knock out our final break of the show. Otter locks to wrap up next. Otter, man, the Cappers, handicappers, the Cappers recap on Magnolia Bowl Football Sunday, 11-2 yesterday. 11-2 on your football Sunday. Incredible performance. They are now 42 games collectively over 500 for the season. Big hat tip and an attaboy for Jimmy Ott and the guys on the show. Well, we'll knock out a final break of the show, come back, get Otter's pick on Monday Night Football or whatever he's got tonight. Otter Locks is next.
AFR.
Hey, I was chatting with Miss Teresa over at Clegg's Nursery earlier today. Wanted me to let you know, because we're down the home stretch now, they are discounting Christmas trees and Christmas decor. So if you still haven't decorated, if you still want to go get that Christmas tree, they have a good selection, even of large trees. Usually by the time you get to the end of the season, it's just some of the shorter trees that they have. They actually have like larger and full-size trees on the lot. So any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations, great time to go get a discounted tree to have it decorated in your home before Christmas. And their Christmas decor is discounted as well at the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. So if you kind of been putting it off, should we get a tree, should we not? Yes, go get one right now at Clegg's. Also, Clegg's gift cards, great for the gardener or do-it-yourselfer on your list. They got them available at all 4 locations. It's at Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications. The powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility. Moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks. Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing great, man. Great weekend this past weekend. So I know you were tweeting it out yesterday on Football Sunday, 11-2.
11-2. Not
11
a bad day's work. 11-2.
11-2. I went 4-1 Friday, 4-1 Sunday to contribute to that 11-2. The 4-1 brings me to 500. Charlie's killing it now. Another winning week for him on Friday, 3-2, 49-29 now on the season.
Awesome.
So
awesome,
20
awesome.
games over 500. It's a tough one tonight, Matt. Traditionally, Bill Belichick is really good after a loss. Well, things have changed a little bit since, it's Tom Brady.
Tom Brady anymore, yeah.
And also his sort of stubbornness, or maybe, I guess, arrogance, that he could just kind of be smarter than everybody. Matt Patricia's never called plays before, and you can even see a guy like Mac Jones is even having some exchanges with him on the sidelines. And so we saw that the Thursday night game against Buffalo, which will look really bad. They look really bad, but, when teams look bad, they can bounce back. So the Cardinals have offensive line issues, but they do get full strength at the wide receiver position. Hopkins, who misses games, he's back, and so is Hollywood Brown, Kyler Murray's former target at Oklahoma as well. And that should increase his pass attempt tonight with those two guys both healthy. So Lions going from 1.5 to 2.5. I hate to say this, Matt, but I really don't like this game. I really don't like this game. But if I would take the Arizona Cardinals home dog on this one. So it's kind of two things fighting. Cardinals getting healthier at the position, getting points at home. We saw points at home. Were easy cover last night for the Chargers.
Yeah.
And New England, it looked so bad in a a standalone game last Thursday night. But are they that bad? I don't know. It's a tough one tonight. Slightly toward the Cardinals at home +2.
Man, I'd rather you not give a play than give a play just to give a play. So, is there anything NBA or anything else that you or anybody's playing tonight?
No, man. We did call it last week.
1 minute
your last
remaining.
chance to try and get on these Pelicans futures before they maybe take over the number one seed in the West, before maybe they win a game or two against the Suns, which they've done it all. And the best that I could find out there still is a plus 950 to win the Western Conference. And if they get there and they get a nice 1, 2, or 3 seed, they certainly can hedge with a victory in the first round there. So that's the thing. Zion's MVP odds are coming down. It's still not too late, but the real value, there's still some value there with some of these Pelicans futures.
Yeah. All right. Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge Spoken Hub tonight.
Yes, indeed. Spoken Hub, right down the street on Government Street.
All right, y'all get by, see the Otter. If you can't get by and see him, make sure you're tuned in here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Thank you, Otter.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, man. Have a great night. That's going to do it for us. Muse, Paulie, appreciate y'all. Shout out Relief Windows, as always. The Otter is next. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Speaking of getting on down the road, we are nearing the Christmas season. A lot of you are have kids that are out of school starting next week. Maybe you're taking that Christmas trip. Maybe you're going to Disney or to go see relatives. Before you hit the road, make sure you bring the vehicle to Shawbills. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. Tell you that every day. Maybe it's time for new tires. If it is, that stinks because nobody wants to spend money on tires. And Shawbills knows that. That's why they'll always try to find you the best prices possible on name brand tires. You go to the website, hit the promotions tab. You'll see the 25 days of Christmas savings. Great deals all throughout the month of July on services and on brand new tires. So you can find it all at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. If you're traveling this holiday season, make sure you bring it into Shawbills. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Winter can be magical. The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is here, and there's no better time to check out our new Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge inventory. We have the vehicles that can make your holiday extraordinary. See all the latest technological features on the newest models during our Mercedes-Benz Winter Event. Shop our best of the best award-winning dealership. Visit